Glad to be here. How's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday.
Great. Happy Tuesday.
I'm in Washington, D.C. today, and I'm on day one of a 2-day team advance. So with a $300 million team. And what's kind of fun when you're with a team like this is you get to really kind of break down all the things that are going well and all the things that we need to improve. What's fascinating to me, and tell me if this resonates with anybody else, is that no matter what level you're performing at, there's always another level. Mm. Have you guys all discovered that to be true? And, the other thing I've realized is that we're all kind of the same. We all have the same struggles. It's just they're amplified when you're doing that much business. One of the things you guys were talking about, you're talking about AI as I came onto the call, and there were some questions in around AI. One of the things we did for this team is we built a custom GPT. And in this custom GPT, we took their last 4 years of financials, their last 4 years of production reports, the last 4 years of market data, and we compared their financials, the market data, appreciation, and performance against all of their financials. And one of the biggest ahas we realized is that the team believed that they were doing better, but the reality was they were doing fewer deals, but the market had gone up in appreciation. And so they were doing fewer deals at a higher price, but they haven't adjusted their overhead. And so margins were lower. And so what they believed was true about their business wasn't actually true. And so how do we fix that? It was just a fascinating to work through and to kind of work through as a team. The other thing we realized really fast was when we do all the business plans of the collective team and we put them into our custom GPT and we look at our goals for the year, the collective business plan goals of the team leave us short $100 million for the team's goal in production. So what do? So either the team leader has to do an extra 100 million, or we have to inspire the agents to increase their production goals, or we have to get more agents. And so how do you get there? So what's the process you would work through to get there? So I'm going to share with you the most important thing that we did today, and I'm going to share with you how we did it. And it was all based on one important thing, and that is understanding that every team, every family, every organization, every company has a culture. And that culture is either intentionally created or it's accidentally created. And you get to choose. Meaning if you haven't taken the time to define what you want your culture to look like, then it's being accidentally created without your input. And one of the first things we did is we shared different types of cultures. Then I said, okay, randomly tell me what you want your culture to look like. And they told me what they wanted to be. They would rather have fewer agents that had higher production than a whole bunch of agents that we had to babysit. Is that a good culture set? I thought that was a great culture set. They wanted to do the right thing. And so we went through the process of taking this team and stripping down all of their core values and creating a new set of core values. And I'm going to show you the process we've worked through when we create core values. Is this interesting to you guys? And so how do you actually do that? And it doesn't matter if you're a team of 1 or 2 or 5. And I would suggest doing the same thing with your family. What are your family's values? What are the things that you want to focus on? And so let me share my screen. I'm on a laptop in a small space. So I want to show, let's see. Here's what we did is last week we talked about leveraging AI. Today we talked about core values. Core values are so important to me and my team that anybody on my team can release any other team member for deliberately stepping on a core value. When we hire someone, they sign off on the core values. They're given a plaque. Everybody's desk has a set of core values on them. Our core values are not like optional values. They are the DNA that holds the team together. Ours are choose to be happy, communicate openly and honestly, have and share vision, integrity always, live freely, show gratitude, persist until we succeed, and we live with passion. Each one of those has deep meaning behind it and the ability to explain it. And we've created a framework around how do you identify if a core value is actually an actionable, measurable value? Would you be willing to hire and fire to that value? I'll give you a couple of other examples, and I'll give you the framework. This is one of my fun ones. This is a team in Calabasas. They do 200 million plus, and their core values are the 4 backs. We have each other's back, we have our clients' back, we have our families' back, and we have our community's back. Now, if you can think of any problem you have on a team or in an organization, we can deal with it by addressing it with a core value. Somebody not following up with leads. What core value might be a violation here? If you don't follow up with someone that inquired on a property, do you have your clients back?
No.
If you're not following up with a lead and you lose the income, do you have your families back? When you don't show up for huddles and you're not doing your role plays and you're not doing the activities that you agreed to as a team, do you have each other's back? And so we can look at all of these problems we have and we can address them with core values. Here's another set. This is also the same team. These are their core values restated. We have fun. We own our mistakes. We check our egos at the door. We genuinely care, and we're always better than our last deal. So, like, we don't play tapes, and we inspire others. I love the values that are there. And so what we've created an establishing core values process on how you break down the important things. This was a team of 16 agents that I was with today. And we all sat down and I put them in groups of 4, and they went through an establishing core values framework where each group put all of their values into a statement of what they thought was most important. And then they all presented it to the group. When they presented it to the group, we had a test that we run by. Whoops. I didn't want that to go away. This is our brainstorm. This is our values. Okay. I didn't mean to go off of my slide deck. There we go. I wanted to go to the next slide. And then this is the core values stress test. And that is this is a test that is designed to help you determine whether or not the core value is actionable. And it has to have all 4 of these things. So here they are. The first one is, can we clearly see when it's being lived? Can we clearly see when it's being violated? Would we correct someone for violating it? If the answer is no, it's not a core value. Would it create real conversation? And if it wouldn't, if it's just general, then it probably wouldn't. Costly. Would it cost comfort, convenience, or commission if it was violated? That's a good one. If it's not a core value. And behavioral. And it is describe what we do, not what we believe. And so core values aren't aspirations. They're behavioral characteristics that we show up and we actually live. They're actionable. They're not theoretical. They're not foofy. And so when we put that stress test to our core values, and you take each of your core values and break it down, a lot of them don't qualify. I'm going to stop my share for just a minute, and I'm going to share with you what the outcome was of what we generated today. Let's see if I can do this easily. I'm going to tell you what they are. So here's the 7 core values that we came up with that they determined. And then we can talk about how we might use those in dealing with any team at any level. So number 1 is we honor commitments and time. We do what we say. We do what we say we will when we say we'll do it, and we respect each other's time as a non-negotiable standard. This is a big one because the team leader's holding huddles and they're doing daily prospecting and we're doing daily success habits, but 80% of the team doesn't show up. And what that shows, how that presents itself, is a lack of respect for other people's time. So we now added it to the core values. The second one is we tell the truth early and clearly. It means that we recognize that we screw up from time to time, but we communicate honestly and directly with transparency, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. And so that's where integrity shows up. Instead of just putting integrity there, we made it actionable. The third one is we support the team, not our ego, which means we proactively help teammates succeed without keeping score or expecting something in return. Who wants to be on a team like that? Like, we have each other's back, man. We don't do it because what's in it for me. We just genuinely want to help each other. This comes from the support team. The support team really wanted to remove manufactured urgency. This is kind of interesting. So we act with intentional urgency. We take decisive action aligned with clear purpose and results, avoiding both procrastination and manufacturer's urgency. And so you can think about the things that might be present and why these core values come into play. Now, I love this number 5. This is a fun one for me, is we commit to continuous growth and mastery. And that described means we actively seek learning, feedback, and skill development to master our market, to raise the team standard, and to exceed client expectations. We want to be the most professional, trusted team in the marketplace. Number 6 is we treat people with respect always. And that shows up with clients, partners, teammates, families, with professionalism, consideration, and respect, regardless of pressure or outcome. we do the right thing. Number 7 is they added this at the very end, and that is we got to have fun and we need joy and laughter as a value. And so we added that as a core value. So I want you to think about the core values for just a minute, and you can come off mute for a minute and think about any core value or any problem you could imagine having with your team or your business. And I'll tell you how to use a core value that we just created to solve it. So give me an example of something that causes you stress as a team leader that make it really hard for you to get your people to do something. Or how many of you are frustrated by people on your team because you want it more for them than they want it for themselves? You do all these things and they don't show up and they don't engage or they don't market to their database. Like, what are some of the things that frustrate you? Chrissy, you don't have any issues with your team, do you?
Well, just today, we were going through all our core values and everything. And what I'm frustrated with is myself on how I can get my team more motivated, because I'm doing all these things. Like, I'm doing the value statement and I'm doing this. And then I think people know I'm just a softie. And so like some things aren't as high of a priority, right? Like making their calls or doing those things. And so I'm like, I feel like the problem starts with me. I need to be a more solid leader and probably be more attached to those values to make it happen.
Okay, so let's unpack that for a minute. Okay, we're going to do a little live coaching here with everybody. And so first of all, who created the core values?
I did.
Right. And so because it was you and not the team, they don't have any buy-in. And so I would reset that and say, let's scrap our core values because these are my vision of what I think is important. But I want you to create the kind of team that you would be proud to share with others. So attraction is all about creating the kind of business that attracts other people. And so if you tell them what's attractive to you, is it possible that their perception of what's attractive to them might be different?
Yes.
Okay. And so if you go through the process of letting them build the core values, when we were done today, we finished the set of core values that everybody bought into and everybody signed them. Now, once they've created them themselves, they've created the standard, we then set, okay, so now what? So now we've set these values. So let's use scenarios where these values might come into play, and who's responsible for being the keeper of the values? Is it the team leader or is it the team members?
That's a
team members.
Yeah.
Right. But the way you set it up is if the team leader doesn't do it, it doesn't happen.
Right.
And so knowing that you're a softie and that you're not going to enforce it and that accountability to you is a penalty, not love, I challenge you on your thinking on that, because I think accountability is love. And if you aren't willing to hold them accountable, it's because you don't care about them enough.
That's a good way to look at that.
I mean, do your kids have a curfew?
Yes.
What happens when they come in after curfew and they don't call you and they don't answer their phone and they turn off their Find My Friends?
They lose privileges on
what? There's penalty? Why? Is it because you don't like them?
No, it's so that I can teach them not to keep doing that. So the consequences to actions, right? So,
but why? Like, is it because here? Let me tell you why I did curfew. It's because I know nothing good happens after midnight. Yes. I was a teenage boy, and I never want my kids to be in a situation where they have to make bad choices. And so I do it because I love them so much. I want to protect them so that when I'm not with them, they make good choices. The reason we have accountability with our teams is because we care about them so much. We want them to be successful. And so we help them create habits that create a predictable result. Accountability is not something you do to them. It's a culture that they choose to be part of when they join your team. So do you want a culture where you do all the production and you spend your day chasing agents around who don't show up for huddles and don't follow up with leads and don't work your open houses? So you're becoming this master at lead generation, creating all these opportunities, and then you're trying to talk people into following up with them. That whole model is broken. And so we need to fire everybody figuratively,
right,
and then hire them back under the core values they choose, but then lead the discussion so they choose accountability, responsibility, respect, and integrity. Is integrity one of your core values?
Yes, it's the top one, actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but it's not something you really actually do. It's just something you have on your team.
That's a good call out. Yeah.
Well, look, so integrity is important, and everybody's agreed they'd follow up with leads, right?
Right.
And so where's the integrity in saying I'm going to follow up a lead within 10 minutes of the lead coming in and they don't call it for 2 days? So are they lying to you now, or are they lying to you when they said they do it?
Yeah.
And how long do you allow integrity to be an issue before you release somebody? Oh, and then here's your bigger one. Now, I don't mean to call you out on this, but integrity only applies to the agent, so not to you, correct?
No, it does to me. That is.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
You told them you'd hold them accountable if they made a commitment to do something, but then you don't. So where's the integrity in that? And so you're modeling the behavior that you actually want your team to live.
I like that.
This is a hard discussion, isn't it, folks? Like, is this resonating with anybody else? By the way, Chrissy is totally normal. Like, there's nothing in this dialogue that, like, I don't see every day. It's normal. No one's teaching us how to really show up as leaders, and leaders own it. First of all, whose problem is it? It's my problem. When the team isn't doing the right thing, it's not because they don't want it. It's because I haven't set the standard correctly, and we haven't clearly communicated what's expected, and I don't have buy-in. The reason they don't do it is they don't understand why it's important to them. They only know why it's important to you. So when we start showing up differently as a leader, now all of a sudden you get buy-in and people start, it changes behavior. That's crazy.
I was going to say, just even that little mind shift makes a difference, because I already had that. I'm the leader. I have to lead by example. But the way I was trying to lead by example was, watch me make all the calls. Watch me do this. Like, that's the wrong mindset. I'm leaning into my sales strengths, not the leader strengths, right? So, yeah.
That's a great epiphany. And so the question I would ask is, first of all, do you buy into our core values as a team member? Yes or no? And what do they mean to you? How often do you repeat them in your team meetings?
Well, I just rolled them out just today, but now I realize I've got to redo the whole thing, because you've talked about this before. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I've been following your system and I'm just trying to implement them.
Yep. And so you have the concept correct. How we execute it, sometimes there's innuendo that doesn't get communicated every time we talk about something. But when I've got a whole day and I'm in the office and they really brought me in to help them do their business plans. But what they want to accomplish doesn't matter if we don't set the culture right, because the behavior won't change. Has anybody ever done or known anyone that's done 75 hard?
Me.
Anybody know what that is? You've done it?
Yep, I've done it.
I have.
Oh, sick. Okay, is that Tom?
Yep.
Okay, Tom.
I've done it.
I
So,
tried
Tom,
to do it.
what was the hardest part of that?
The workouts were pretty easy for me because that's part of my normal schedule. This is a moment of true disclosure. The hardest part was probably the lack of the no alcohol, not because I'm an alcoholic, but because I went to Vegas on an EXP event. EXPCon was right in the middle of my 75 hard. And I'm like, I'm in Vegas and I'm not going to drink really. And I was so tempted to, especially at the EXP party where the alcohol was flowing for free. And it took a whole ton of personal development and self-control not to do it. So it was just that one, weekend, but the final party is a big deal. It's a lot of fun and you want to drink because where everyone's having a great time. So that was the hardest part. But then once you get the momentum going, it was pretty easy. It was just a decision.
So out of curiosity, did you have fun anyway?
Of course, because I decided to.
So drinking was just a story you were telling yourself so you could have a better time, but it wasn't actually truth. And at the end of the 75 hard, how did you feel physically and mentally?
Amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
So all 75 hard is having a clear definition of what success is, and then reverse engineering the daily habits that you have to get into to get that result. And even though you don't see the result at the end, until the end, by doing the right thing every single day, it creates a predictable end. That's all we're trying to get our teams to do, is figure out how to measure a win every day. The reason 75 hard works is because you know what winning looks like at the end of every day. In real estate, we count wins when we do transactions, when we close a deal, or when we attract somebody that signs, which means if you're doing 10 deals a year, 355 days a year, you wake up a loser because you only have 10 days where you're winning. The reason 75 hard works is because you have a clear definition of what success looks like at the end of a day. And every day you go to bed a winner because you did your 2 workouts, 1 inside, 1 outside. You read your 10 pages. You didn't do alcohol. Like, you've got this regimen and you know what winning looks like. If you can create that for your teams and for your team members, success will become as predictable as the outcome of 75 hard. Think about that, Tom. All it is breaking down what it takes to have clarity on what winning looks like at the end of the day. Winning is not the result. Winning is the daily activities that create the result that you want. Got it.
So how could you do that instead of 75 hard, use that for agent attraction? How do you reverse engineer? Because the end result is that they join EXP and that they do the same, duplicate, bring other people in. But I don't have control over your timing, Verl. I can't decide when you're going to join EXP. That's up to you. So how do I make it look like I'm winning every day so that I have the wins and that my success is predictable based on what I can control?
Yep. So it breaks it down into your daily habits of attraction, that DSH I have for attraction. It's calls, conversations, appointments set, appointments met, presentations, and asks. If you do enough of those activities, the results will become predictable. And then how much of your day is spent one-to-one and how much of your day is spent hunting for one-to-many? Who are the officers you're talking to? Who are the independents that could be potential? Instead of going one-to-one, how do you think bigger? How do I bring in organizations instead of individuals? And then what's that look like? How many do I need to contact? What's the presentation I need to make? How many presentations do I need to give in a month in order to hit my goals? So you reverse engineer it. And then every day you do those activities that'll give you that predictable result. Like, it's absolutely doable. You need to make 250 calls a day. You need to have 5 conversations. You have to make 2 presentations, and you have to have 1 close. Like, there's a formula that matters. And once we figure out what that is to 10x, all we do is duplicate the formula. And then we say, okay, now how can I use technology or systems to remove the mundane things so that all I do is present? So how do I use AI and AI agents to generate all the activities that set up the time where I actually get to see people face to face? That's how I think about creating scale. Anyway, this being awesome. About core values is setting your values right so that as you build your teams and your organizations, when people choose to be part of you, you're all in the same boat, rowing the same direction, and have a common set of values that you're all building towards. And that becomes the most attractive thing you can do besides success. There's nothing more attractive than signs in yards. Like I struggle being interested in somebody else's business who's not making any money. And so what I teach my friends at EXP is get your house in order, make sure that you have an example of how you can be successful without working in the business, and then build your organization, because that's duplicatable. It creates cash flow that feeds the beast and allows you to build long-term wealth that allows you to walk away and create the mailbox money that you all want so much. But we seem to separate those two things, like you can't have both. I believe you can have it all. You can make a boatload of money in real estate. You can create an attractive team that operates without you in it. And you can then start to attract people that want to build the same thing because you now have a model that actually works. That's, to me, the perfect combination and the magic. That was kind of a fun conversation. Okay, so it's 5:30. Oh my gosh, time goes so fast. Okay, I have to go, everybody. We're having a cocktail reception with this team, and I broke to come out and say hello to all of you because I told Brent I would be here. And so I'm here, and I appreciate you being here. Everybody has the code on how to get to be an insider. I hope that you all have that downloaded. If you don't, I'll have Candace put it in the chat really quick. And so you have a link. So I'll give you the how to build your core values and the core value framework, how to test them. So go test them against those questions I had, Chrissy. Go put them in your GPT and put your core values in there with my questions and say, do these qualify? And see how it answers. And then now go back to your team and say, can we have a reset? I was thinking about this and I thought, I'm asking you to buy into something you don't have any input in. And I feel like I'm letting you down by not giving you input.
Well, I have half my team here, so they already know.
Great. We're going to reset core values. But like the biggest thing for me is When you buy into the creation of the core values and you create those values, it becomes a standard that you choose to be held accountable to. And most people have honesty and integrity, except for when it comes to themselves. If Chrissy, if you told me you were going to do something, your word is your bond, right? I can count on it, take it to the bank.
Right.
But when you tell yourself you're going to do something, you always defer to the other person or the other need before you keep the commitment you made to yourself.
Yep.
I need you to keep the promises you make to yourself. That's the number one place where integrity shows up, or lack of it.
I needed to hear that. Thank you.
Yep. All right, you guys, big hug from Big V. Good to see you all. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go do a cocktail reception and play pickleball with the team. How about that for a team advance? Does that sound like fun? See y'all
Sounds
next week.
awesome. Thanks, Verl.
Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
Verl.